Hello, here I am again. The latest videos were in April. If you remember, I was talking about two mails to President Sarkozy, April 5, April 13. These two mails were dealing with the same problem, the Spanish crisis and the Spanish stock market crash, because it has been a crash more than 20% since the beginning of April for the Spanish stock market. So in that mail from April 2, the first one, I was warning the French President Sarkozy at the time, to protect the national holdings of the Caisse de dépôt et consignation, who is managing the stock holdings of the nation, about 12 billions of euro in various companies. You already know that around the weekend of June 9, 10, 11, I won't check the calendar, Europe finally gave up any hope and gave 100 billions of euro for free to Spain in order to save its bankrupt banking system. So I was right all along, and I was ahead of reality, or I was just with reality, to be more precise, because those who were giving the money were not anticipating the reality and were reacting under urgency, and that's not management. Beware. So what next? Well, what next? As we speak, around mid-May, the Dow was at 12,400. June 1st, it reached a low at 12,100, and since June 1st, it's rising again. And on June 22, it closed last Friday at 12,640. After June 21st, the biggest one-day drop, the second biggest one-day drop in 2012. So what next? Well, the what next should be following what I told to President Hollande in a mail sent to him on May 16, received on May 18. In that mail, I was just telling President Hollande that the Spanish crisis was over and that stock markets would reverse again to the upside. So we are still in that process of reversal, according to me, and then it remains to be seen if the rise comes out the stock markets. So here is the mail which I had sent on May 16 to President Hollande. Mr. Hollande, I have to ask you, as the now President of France, the Caisse de dépôt et consignation, the national entity managing the stock holdings of France in various companies, such as Renault, has lost about 1 billion of euros since April this year. And that was just because President Sarkozy didn't care about the warning which I had sent him by registered mail in early April during the presidential campaign. So my question is just very simple. Will you be more open-minded than your predecessor? Be assured that I contact you in the interest of the nation. You are going to manage the country, and of course this does also involve the management of the nation's financial situation. First and foremost, any management must arise from proper anticipations of the future. Those who base their decision upon misplaced anticipations will only react to urgency in the end, and we no longer can talk here of management. Refer to what Europe did when it gave 100 billions of euro to Spain around June 10. This is no management. This is panic reaction. There is indeed a huge gap between proper management and crisis management, the latter one deriving from misplaced anticipations, of course. That is why I just offer you my services, Mr. President, in my field of expertise. On March 1st this year, I had sent a registered warning to President Sarkozy that French stock markets was about to start diving. I had then tried to catch his attention and advised him to take protective measures about the stock holdings of the Caisse des Dépôts. That is about 12 billions of euros that need protection if the stock market is diving. On April 2, the month after, I had sent him another registered mail to warn that the Spanish stock market was immediately due to dive and drag all other markets with him to the downside. I insisted again about the need to protect the stock holdings of the nation. Well, since March 1st, the French CAC 40 already lost 11%, and it must be noted that the steepest dive took place in early April, just as I was sending my second urgent warning. That is being close to reality. And that is no chance. Beware. I didn't get any acknowledgement of those mails except for the post receipt, and I am allowed to think that nothing was done by the CDC to protect the national portfolio. But you must know that easy financial techniques will have avoided that 1 billion loss in valuation for the CDC. Besides, didn't you note how President Sarkozy in his press conference on April 5th was repeatedly mentioning the crisis in Spain? Well, when did he get my mail? On April 5th. So he knew. Even the journalists at the press conference did take note that he was somehow wishing in disguise that the Spanish crisis would erupt violently during the presidential campaign. Why so? Where did he get the information? Had President Sarkozy not received my mail from early April, what did he do to protect the CDC, Caisse des Dépôts? Certainly nothing at all. Of course, such a behavior, when a president makes use of confidential information to serve his personal purposes, but discards them to serve the interest of the nation, where they apply first of all, that is, I fear, the disillusioned reality which we must accept about President Sarkozy, now gone. His famous mistake about that visit to the Restaurant Fouquet's right after his election in 2007 was certainly no mistake, but his true face. But I saw you on TV, Mr. Holland, and so far I believe that you do care to serve the national interest, which is why I feel like offering you my help and services. My professional references don't stop here. First of all, in a book published in 1995 under a pen name, I had already drawn out the rough scheme of the current debt crisis, which I had depicted as the unavoidable conclusion of the so-called competitive disinflation, the theme that was so much in fashion at the time. Many years later, I was quoted in late October 2008 as the only French expert who had anticipated the global stock market crash and the attached economic crisis just 2 months before it started. But I am no perma-bear nor a born pessimist, because I was also able to get and anticipate the final bottom in March 2009 with 2 published articles claiming the renewal of the bull market for stocks. Of course, you find here the technical evidence of proper anticipation. I truly understand your hostile position against finance. I just hope it won't be a reason to disregard the current mail. Indeed, if I have a rather good understanding of financial markets, it doesn't mean that I am in love with finance. Indeed, I'm even holding the opinion that maybe half of the financial vehicles could be banned with no harm at all, because they serve nothing but worsen the overall market volatility, which in turn does later harm the real world and its economy. But there's no way you can avoid financial markets and their influence on the real world. I'd rather tell you in advance what to be ready for. If global markets may enjoy a temporary relief for some time, with New York achieving French new highs, this will nevertheless end up with another severe dive, not to say a crash. There is indeed a Nasdaq bubble in the making that should go off around this summer. Well, that was at the time I wrote the mail. Don't make me say that I got it wrong, you know. Time is one thing. Getting the right map is the right thing. Then you adjust the time schedule to the reality. Okay. At this juncture, when European stock market dives later, you may be under attack, Mr. President, from various sides, and your politic adversaries may never fail to criticize any decision which you may have taken since the beginning of your mandate. But that will be all wrong, because the crisis will be somehow imported from the US. The solution is simple for you. Be a modern and enlightened president. Do not wait and claim in public that you fear the implosion of a bubble in the US in the stock market. I could be there to help you monitor the timing for that. Later you can blame it on the US that they made European stock markets go off with their stock market bubble. As you take then the lead in Europe with this public posture, you can obtain more authority in the management of the sovereign debt crisis. This way you can regain politic leadership. As I felt authorized to tell you at the beginning, there is no proper management without proper anticipation of reality. Please avoid repeating the mistakes which President Sarkozy went into, and don't get caught by surprise when a financial crisis does hit the TV screens. I could be there to tell you in advance. I proved it in the past that I can do it, and I did it again in April 2012. And I have this mail now to you. Financial markets are not unforeseeable, as too many people may have an interest to make us all believe. This might be a dogma, or not. It takes anyway a lot of experience and sweat to go beyond that easy dogma. My own course since 2008 with the no-fault record is there to demonstrate the privilege of age and experience. Will you have an exact anticipation of the current economic cycle? President Sarkozy didn't. Your advisor don't have the necessary knowledge to protect you from the same mistakes he did. But if you have a correct approach of that cycle of the next 5 years, then you can act in synchronicity with reality. I just do hope you understand all the benefits you may gain from my input as your personal advisor. Beware, Mr. President, the very next big threat which you face during your mandate is the one of an exploded global bond bubble. That is the immediate consequence of the policy pursued by the Fed since late 2008. Debt monetization is a no-chance escape from reality. The day the US bond bubble does go off is the day when interest rates reverse to the upside for good in the entire Western world. It is the day of recognition for the easy runaway into ever higher debts pursued over the past 30 years. What is France gonna do then about the management of its national debt? You must anticipate that reversal and protect the nation by means of technical tools which finance has to offer. Yes, be against finance, but use its tools for the good of the nation. I do hope as well that you will be more attentive to the reality of my competence rather than to the shape and course of my experience course. Sorry for the mistakes. But as I like to say, being a robot in a company will never make you grow in knowledge. What is killing France even more than our national debt is easy to understand. Why do we like so much to imprison anyone into a specific box with a specific title and identification code instead of taking into account his specific and real competencies? The need to put someone in a specific box is somewhere a mechanic behavior bordering total idiocy. I just say that is the truth. As long as that mentality is prevailing, all your efforts to save the nation are bound to fail. As a president, it is your duty to show the way and prove with facts and deeds that you give up on that loser's mentality. So here I am, finished.